Hello and welcome to another edition of RSF Radio. I'm your host Joe Monday, and this is the podcast where we talk about what's been going on in the world of the FGC or the Street Fighter, all that shit. Maybe not Street Fighter so much anymore. Maybe Street Fighter seems to want to take a back seat to some, maybe some more culturally appropriate things, as it were. Very special guest. She's been on the show before. Glad to have her back again. Amanda Stevens, how you doing?
What up? It's been a minute,
Yeah.
It's a couple of years ago, so it's almost, I feel like it's at least been a year, maybe two.
You say a year ago, but really, like in 2020,
it feels like a decade ago. Like if you asked me what I did like 2 weeks ago, I could not tell you.
Actually, I am going to ask you what you did 2 weeks ago, so there's that. But no.
Yeah, there's a funny story that happened recently. Well, not funny, haha for once, not funny. Ooh.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. But regardless, though, but when I have guests on, everybody knows the drill. Whatever you have to pitch, whatever you have going on right now, wherever you want to send people, let the people know where they can find you or whatever you're working on. Get that right out of the way, right up front, so people can't skip it. So what's good? What do you got going on?
Nothing. I mean, it's actually really
liar,
like
fucking liar.
No, in all honesty, like we haven't done an episode of the Neutral in like almost we're going on like more than a month. I think the last episode was Justin Wong, and that was like mid-May. Yeah, because it was Justin Wong after Alex Myers. So yeah, we haven't done a show since like mid-May. Mute Your Mic has been on hiatus. We literally just recorded our first episode in like a month and a half. Today, Thursday, June 18th. So hopefully that'll go up Friday, Saturday. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't know when the Neutral's coming back because it requires me like booking people way in advance so I can, keep a schedule going. So like, honestly, as far as like my personal projects go, there just isn't a whole lot going on because I've been so busy with all these other things that I've been doing.
Mm-hmm. With like actual work and real stuff that you have going on.
Yeah, stuff that pays my bills. Granted, I love all of my patrons, but like my patrons and I have like a pretty real understanding that like you're supporting me through my Patreon, not really my content, and my content comes from me being able to eat and pay my rent, which is why you support my Patreon. But fair. It's not like a 1-to-1 ratio, and I think my patrons have understood that for years now, that supporting the Patreon doesn't guarantee you content. It just means that I exist, and therefore content can happen.
I feel like specifically in the FGC that kind of happens a lot. Mostly because like a lot of the stuff what is valuable to have doesn't necessarily pull a lot. Maybe the most. The FGC is like very small still, like in terms of the grand scope.
I love the FGC. Y'all make me really mad sometimes, but like, in all honesty, like as much as I miss doing my own content, I'm pretty happy with a lot of the stuff that I'm doing right now. And so the fact that my own content has fallen to the wayside, while unfortunate, I think a lot of the stuff that I've been doing in its place is more meaningful to the world.
Yeah.
In making it a better place. And so, and that's kind of always what I've wanted to do as a content creator. I was inspired mostly by Spider Jerusalem from the comic Transmetropolitan. So, like, I've always wanted to do work that inspired people and, like, made the world better. And so, I'm doing that right now. And so, like I said, do I miss my content? Oh, I miss just shooting the shit with people in the FGC. Like, I loved that me and Justin Wong talked about egg sandwiches for 20 minutes on an episode of The Neutral. Right? Like, that shit's great. But I think the other stuff I've been doing is pretty dope too.
Oh yeah, definitely. And speaking of which, so we're kind of catching the tail end of an event that you just threw. I had St. Cola on last week talking about before it had begun, and I wanted to catch you at the end of it to really nail home what exactly happened. But you just threw Transitional Combat, which raised over $10,000.
$10,270 and like 21 cents or something like that.
That's crazy. And like all over a weekend, which is like...
Yeah, I mean, like we raised some money before the event, but I think going into I want to be real that I think going into the Friday of the event, which was the East Coast tournament, I think we were maybe at 4,000. 30, like roughly in and around 3,600 is where we were going into the Friday of the event. We raised roughly $7,000 over the course of 2 days.
That's fucking incredible.
Give or take. Yeah.
Dude, fuck yeah. So, like, that's fucking rad. But I specifically want to ask you, like, so why Trans Lifeline? Why this event? Why this time? What did this mean to you? And also, sub question, did you expect the community to step up 10K?
So I'll give like the full lore. So I had only heard about Trans Lifeline. I want to say like 3-4 years ago. A friend of mine, after Trump had gotten elected, there was all these different. I was talking about worry about like getting my name change taken care of, and like all like what like are the worst case scenario policy changes that could happen that could affect me. And somebody had shared with me a link. Because Trans Lifeline does, what's it called? They do a microgrant program where trans individuals can apply to have the cost of their document change updates completely covered by Trans Lifeline.
Oh, sick.
So I applied for this, and they take a very limited number of people. Like once they raise enough money internally through donations and whatnot, that's like when they open up the queue. Their old system was real bad. They just took applicants all the time, and then hopefully they could find the money for them. They fixed that. But I hadn't heard of that was the only time I'd heard of them. And it was like when people were sending me a bunch of different crowdfunded things to help trans people. So I was like, all right, cool. This is another one to fill out, but I haven't heard from like the other 4 I filled out. So like, shrug. If I get it, I get it. Cool. Eventually I did hear back from them. And then I 2.5 years ago almost took my life one night. And I knew about the Trans Lifeline. They have a peer support hotline. It's not a crisis line. It's not a suicide hotline. It's just a peer support line. And I called, and it helped me a lot. It's one of the reasons why I have my Go Beyond Plus Ultra tattoo, because it's also my semicolon tattoo. And so when I eventually heard that they were going to be able to cover my name change, that basically changed a lot of my life, right? I'm still here, and I'm doing cool stuff, and it's mostly because of being able to call Trans Lifeline that night. So I have had the pleasure of working with them twice in the last year. I spoke at a benefit that they were holding in New York City, where, I talked about my experience working with them and, what it was like getting my microgrant and why it was so important that the microgrant program existed. And then at PAX East this year, they asked me this was their first year at a convention, and they wanted somebody who was endemic to gaming and had experience working in that space, helping them with their booth. And so I got to, be out there and talk to people and, help us raise some money. We raised a pretty good amount that weekend, so that was pretty great. And then I want to say, I think Twitter told me recently, because I had to look it up in preparation for this. I mused on Twitter on May 26th. Hey, with everything that was starting to come out in the world, I was like, you know what? I like, how hard would it be for me to run a fighting game tournament to raise money for Trans Lifeline? And I was blown away that tweet had a ton of response to it. I had different TOs reaching out, not some of the bigger ones, but I had different TOs reaching out. I had St. Cola and all these other commentators saying, "Hey, I'll commentate for free." Arturo T.S. Sabin basically was like, "Yo, I'll run your stream." Sermi from Matcherino immediately was like, "Yo, Matcherino's got you. Like, we'll make you a Matcherino partner," and all of this stuff. And so what was just kind of it'd be kind of cool if I did this thing. I had a lot of real world weight behind it in a very short amount of time. And my original plan was for Transitional Combat to be this upcoming weekend, the 20th, the 19th and the 20th, because I wanted time to do it perfectly, right? nail as many sponsors as possible. Nail a really good commentary team. Get Ricky involved. Get Sonic Fox involved. Get a lot of big name trans people in the fighting game community involved, so that it just would be this super big, as big as we can get it event, right? Mm-hmm. And then, so the first weekend we're talking about everything, Arturo's like, yo, I can't do that weekend. I've got other events I'm helping with. And so what I thought I had, 2 weeks to plan and a week to promote, Art was like, we can either do the first week of June, which is impossible, right? You can't. Right. We're on the 27th. There's no way we're doing the first weekend of June. So now we have to do it the second weekend of June, which, for those of you who have never ran an event, it's very different than, say, like what you were able to achieve with your Black Lives Matter tournament. Like, you don't have to do extra promotion. People know that the online local is a thing.
Right.
So people are going to tune in regardless.
Yeah, it's
right.
This
you
thing
just
that already
made you made the added benefit of it was a Black Lives Matter charity.
Right.
Imagine somebody who has never run a fighting game tournament before. People kind of know that I exist in the FGC. Trying to build hype for a tournament without being a TO, an org, a big fighting game personality, right? Like, some people were like, oh, well, how come you didn't, do this or do that? It's like, I had 4 days to figure out everything for my tournament so that we had the maximum amount of time to promote it.
Right. Yeah.
It's
like fucking, like, it's a tournament from out of nowhere. Like, where does this come from? Who, like, is this trustworthy? Like, who is involved here? Like, getting all of that shit nailed down is super important, super early. So it, like, has, I don't want to use the word clout, but, like, has a little bit of, like, you got some ass to swing,
Yeah, and so that was a thing that I had to be very clear about. So, like, for example, I got kind of called out on Twitter. Somebody said, because the first thing I led with, because we didn't have our promotional video yet, was I led with, oh, hey, here's our commentary team. And we had those sick Street Fighter V inspired stat cards. I thought they were really dope. All of my commentators are using them as their profile picture, so I assume they're dope. But that was our first thing, and some people were like, well, how come there's no trans commentators? This seems really easy for you to just reach out and try to find trans commentators. And what people don't realize is that, like, I was working with major brands, and I can't tell a brand, oh, I don't know my commentators yet. I just have a date and a stream.
That doesn't work. That's not how any of that works.
Sure, I could have done it super FGC grassroots, right? Where, like, I don't have sponsors, I don't have giveaways. Then why do you tune in, right? Like, Then you're just really hoping that our Saban stream and the goodwill of the FGC carries the event.
Which, like, historically speaking, the goodwill of the FGC does not go very far.
So you can understand why I thought the best way to go about it was to work with brands, right? And so I went with a commentary team of people who I've worked with before, with the exception of Tom, Thomas Winkley. But I've heard him on your streams, and he seems like he does a good job.
He's okay, I guess.
Yeah, but like I
fucking love Tom. I know he listens to this show. He's great.
My biggest fear, to be completely honest, was I was really worried that I would pick up a commentator or something that I've never worked with before, and we get to the day of the event, and where are they?
Right. That is also, like, another thing that the FGC is very good at doing, is flaking when the time comes to do a thing.
Like, I love Ricky. She said before the event, when we were still in the planning phase of the event, that she could do it, and then I never heard from her again.
It happens. People...
And, like, I'm not saying this to blow up Ricky's spot. I love Ricky. She does a lot of great shit. I really love the mini doc that she did with EG for Pride this month. She's a great person. I love talking to her. I've loved interviewing and working with her in the past. But, like, that's somebody I actually know flaking on me. Right? Now, like, why would I put myself in a situation where, like, my commentator... And, of course, like, the backup thing is, like, oh, well, you just pull in commentators you know. But, like, that doesn't always work. You can't just throw two people on the mic and hope for the best.
Right.
right? So like, I made the decisions I made, and you know what? I got dragged for it. I didn't appreciate it because like I built the event in 4 days. Like I'm gonna be real. Like I didn't particularly appreciate people dragging me for not having trans commentators because like I built an event, and my thing is like if you don't like the thing someone's doing, you just do it better. That person didn't do a trans charity event. Nobody else did.
Yeah.
Did anybody else raise $10K for Trans Lifeline this month?
That's that goes back to the old joke of like dude saying like, what the fuck have you done in the FGC having never done anything in the FGC? Like,
but you know what I mean? Like I didn't want it. I told you at the start of the show and while we were off the mic, right, that I wasn't gonna be spicy. But like thinking about this makes me want to be spicy, and it's like,
let's fan those flames. Let's go. I like a spicy Amanda Stevens. I love it.
What did you do? And that's like how I felt that night when I found out this person was dragging me. Was I was like, because I gave them a very good reason. Like Surmi had told me that these tweets were happening, and I said, look, you know, hi, I'm a black trans woman who's endemic to the FGC. I'm involved in this project, so there is some like it's not like a bunch of cis people doing this event. 2, I literally put this event together in 4 days, and I was really worried about having people flake on me. So I worked with a crew that I've worked with before for the least problems to happen, which I think is and I was like, I thought that was a very reasonable response. And she's like, well, as a trans woman, I just feel like it's a valid question to ask. And I'm like, but I gave you an answer. You didn't have to come back at me with heat. You asked a question. I gave you what I thought was a very respectful answer, and you came back at me with heat. So
it's the doubling down of the heat that you're not cool with. Like, because like valid question.
Yeah,
but also,
sure.
There's valid.
But then on top of that, you know what you could have said if you didn't like the answer? You could be like, I'm gonna run my own trans tournament, and like, I'm going to have complete trans staff, top to bottom, trans commentators. Yeah. And, like, if your shit ran as well as mine ended up did, good for you. You did it, boo-boo. But, like, you didn't do shit. So
I'm going to run my own trans. I'm going to run my own trans tournament with blackjack and hookers. Let's go.
But you know what I mean? Like, I hate that the FGC does this a lot of being like, you're not doing this. And it's like, well, okay, then you do it. You take the time to talk to 10 esports brands, convince them all to give a large amount of money worth of product, right? Yeah. Like the entire Cloud9 bundle isn't cheap, right? That's 2 t-shirts, their sticker, their pin, and their socks and their face mask. I think that's roughly like $100 worth of stuff. The EG bundle is $100 worth of stuff. We had a $120 Astro headset for free. We had $100 from ESL for their merch store. We had a kind of fit, kind of fat hoodie, which I think like long sleeve, which I think is like $35. We had Dynamic Focus's really fucking sick anorak and their really dope face mask as one of our bundles. We had a whole bunch of shit, and like I made that shit happen. Literally, there was only one giveaway bundle that happened the day before the event. Everything was confirmed a week before the event.
Which is important to lock down if you specifically also want to advertise for that event. But that's the thing though. Like people don't understand that. Like, sure, you could just run an event, but like if you think about all the people in the FGC that did charity shit, it's not people that never did anything before. Right. You raise money and you run an event every week. Punk doesn't never stream and just turned on his stream one day. Even the Resist the Iron Fist, right? They regularly stream Tekken events. It's not like this was like a new thing for them. Yeah, Jeff regularly streams. He raised a bunch of money. Like it's. And so while you can say like, oh, you worked with like people who did shit, yeah, but you can ask them. They weren't that involved in like the process. They just made sure that I knew what to do, right? Art ran the stream. Art didn't find sponsors. Art didn't find commentators, right? Bunch did a great job running the pools, but like that was his only job. Right. At the end of the day, I made the date. I got the graphics put together. I got the promo videos done. Right. Who's ever done a video explaining how to use Matcherino before? Honestly. And that Matcherino video was fucking fire. You can't even lie. Something that I, in retrospect, was like, shit. Like that's good. Making video. Here's a little pro tip for anyone who's running anything: is that you make a quick little video that shows people exactly what to do. because whatever rules or whatever you've laid out for them to read, or like here's how you use this, but please read it. They're not going to read it. You watch a short little video, then they understand, or at least have a much better idea of what to do.
The reason the video happened, I got a lot of credit, and I thank you FG Monkey Business and Jet Set for one, making the video, and two, doing the voiceover, was that I know that a lot of the people who follow me aren't FGC, right? Both on Facebook. Most of my Facebook is very not esports, with the exception of real esports and FGC people who I'm actually friends with. A lot of my Facebook is my friends I've made through Magic and just existing as a human being. So I was well, I want them to know how to use Matcherino. What's the best way to get them to use Matcherino? Well, what about a 2-minute video that explains how that weird ass fucking website works?
Because it is weird. It's a weird website. I'm gonna be honest. The first time I started using it, I was like, "This is a scam. I'm being scammed." I mean, it turns out that they're pretty good people, and the people that I've personally worked with actually give a fuck about the community in general. Sarmi's a great dude. Again, shout outs to Sar. I feel like I always give him shout outs, but dude, dude deserves it. He's fucking awesome.
Let's look at everything that went into my event. Right. Let's super pat my and my team's back for a moment. Right. Let's actually just stroke our nuts a bit.
Okay, Amanda.
We had a pretty dope announcement for our commentators. Right. They have these really cool stat cards. They're the trans colors. They've got, you've got what was it? I'm looking at Saints right now because I thought that was the funniest one.
His was pretty good.
Saints was pretty good. It's bring heat to the mic. This is occupation. Right? His was pretty good.
Yeah, you want to have fun with it.
Tom was Destroyer of Pizza was his tagline. Right? They were pretty good.
Which track? I mean, pizza is good is his whole thing. So that tracks.
And then after that, what came right after that? Our announcement video, which you cannot say wasn't fucking hype.
It was pretty good.
Cola killing it on the mic. My friend Dr. Puppet, who I've known through League of Legends and just in life for the last I think he's one of my OG esports friends. I think going back 5-6 years. Finally get to work on a project together, and I think he fucking killed our announcement video. Had all the information. My dude made that shit in a day. My dude made that video in 8 hours.
Quick work is someone that does quick work that is good is a super highly valuable person. To be clear, that shit is I cannot express how valuable that is.
Heals for Meals made the poison banner that we use for all of our announcement stuff. She made that in a couple hours.
Shit, yeah.
Right? And I think that banner looked pretty sick, right? I think that was a pretty cool banner, that we use for all the giveaway information and all that nonsense.
Absolutely.
Let's see. The Matcherino page, I mean, I can't take too much credit for that. I just copy-pasted a lot of stuff.
To be honest, though, there was a lot of information on that Matcherino page. Way more than I've ever put into any Matcherino, where I'm
well, because we knew that people didn't know what Trans Lifeline is, so we wanted to explain that.
Fair.
The graphic that Canestra made of Poison for our Trans Right t-shirt, right? Look at the average FGC event that's not a premier event in their content, and then look at what we did.
Yeah. Not for real. It was honestly, whenever I first looked at that,
no smoke at Reddit at r/Street Fighter.
No,
but,
totally.
There's not a whole lot that goes on to the promotion of the online local.
I was gonna actually bring that up. Look at the match arena that we used for Black Lives Matter, which was literally just one sentence of me being I don't know, we're running a charity. That was literally it. Versus what you had run. I was shit. There's a lot more here that could have been done.
But even with your weekly event, let's be real. Let's look at a non-premier event. So we're not talking about East Coast Throwdown.
Sure.
We're not talking about Combo Breaker. We're not talking about CEO. Let's compare it to something like what you do, which I think is at the same scale, right? Every week you do the online local. Your graphics for the actual stream look great. And you were way better at clipping shit for Twitch. I mean, Art did a better job than I did because I didn't clip shit. But the average FGC event does not have announcement videos.
No,
does not tell you how to use Matcherino. does not give their commentators their own graphics, right? Does not make a T-shirt, right?
Right.
Like when people were giving,
the CPT doesn't tell you how to even use Smash GG. Check that out.
But so like
comparatively, throw some smoke. Let's look at the online CPT and show how much that shows how people to like. So like, do their event.
While like it's probably not great to like be this sort of stroking of like our ego. Like at the end of the day, we did a lot of stuff for the event in a very short amount of time.
Right.
And I had team owners from within the FGC. I had people who are way more FGC than me. I had a lot of people telling me that my shit looked better than most people's events.
100%. No,
so like anybody that wants to say like, oh well, blah 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 or blah 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 blah, like do better. Come at me. Legit. Challenge thrown. Run in the same time frame. Build a team in 4 days, and then literally try to out-check mark me on what you do for your event. And if you can match me, then bet. I'll give you your propers. But until then, I don't want to hear shit from nobody.
Here's the thing that I love about that challenge is that even if they win and outdo you, they've still raised a lot of money for Trans Lifeline, which is also like double bonus. So like,
right?
Even if you lose, you win. Get fucked, motherfucker. Let's go.
But yeah, bet. Do what I did. Like, I'm always down to be shown that like someone could have done it better. But if you can do it better in the same time frame, like word for word, so your team is made in 4 days, and you've got a video announcing your event, you can't just be like, oh, well, here's one graphic announcing my event. No, you got to go blow for blow. Like, do it better. Make a fucking mini doc about your event. But, like, I don't want to hear it. And, like, I know that this might be taken away from, like, the event. Like, nobody wants to hear somebody talk about a charity event about, like, how great they are. But, like, look, I spend a lot of time acting like I don't do shit.
But it's also for something that you give a whole lot of fucks about. Like, this is a good charitable resource that helps a lot of people like get through life in general. Like you brought up earlier that it's not a suicide hotline, right? Which is like,
but it saved my life. Like
exactly. It's not. It's which like a suicide hotline can lead to like a lot of like different separate issues, and also probably not trained to manage someone that is going through the kind of stress that a transgender person might be going through.
Example, folks, the reason why Trans Lifeline isn't a suicide hotline is because maybe you don't understand this. So suicide hotlines have to do what's called a wellness check.
Yep.
So if I call Joe as somebody on the National Suicide Hotline, and I say anything to the effect of, I want to kill myself, Joe has to take the information that he has from my phone number and call my local police department to have them come to my residence to do a wellness check. Because maybe y'all don't fucking realize this. There's no such thing as 24/7 social workers in the United States. There's no such thing as 24 social workers at hospitals. So the only people that do a wellness check are police.
Right.
And let's just remember that currently the country is on fire over the way police treat people. How do you think police treat trans people? Do you think that a trans person is going to call a suicide hotline knowing that cops are going to come to their house? No. That's why a lot of trans people don't use suicide hotlines, is because they don't want police involved. So you know what they do? They just don't call anybody. That's one of the reasons why trans people have a disproportionate suicide rate, is because the way that the system is designed isn't designed to help trans people in a humane and meaningful fashion. So everybody who's like, well, oh, they're not a real suicide hotline, you're damn straight they aren't. Because otherwise people wouldn't feel comfortable using it.
Right.
Right? And because they're not a suicide hotline, they can't get funding at the federal or state level. Because if you're a peer support hotline that deals anyway with any sort of emotional crisis, you have to do a wellness check in order to get government funding. So like the whole reason I did this tournament is because I know that they need help with funding. because Pride isn't a physical thing this year, right? There's no Pride parade, there's no go to your bar, there's no cookout, right? And that's where small orgs like Trans Lifeline rely a lot on their funding. Groups like the Trevor Project or the Human Rights Campaign, they're going to get funding year-round because they're visible and people like them. But something like Trans Lifeline or like your local Pride Center, they're going to hurt this year. They're going to have to cut back on initiatives.
Yeah.
So,
entirely true, especially when something like a suicide hotline calls the police. That person might be transphobic coming at you. And, that's not a situation that anyone would be comfortable. Even you would even think EMTs might be trained. No, not even the case. There are cases where trans people have died on ambulance rides because of failure of treatment. I'm not saying that will happen or is going to happen. I'm just saying that that threat is very real to trans people and is why doing something like this is so valuable when something like Trans Lifeline cannot get any kind of federal funding or any kind of major funding from a Pride or Pride Month, for example.
Yeah. So that's why I did this event. That's why it matters a lot to me. And I'll be real with y'all. I mean, some of you might have seen the Matcherino at the very beginning. My original goal was $1,000, and to his credit, Art was you're an idiot. It's gonna raise way more than that. And I was like, yo, do you know how the FGC treats trans people sometimes? I don't know about that.
Yeah, sometimes it ain't all about that shit.
Do you know how hard it was for me to get the FGC to pay me $250 to release 4 interviews? I don't know. I don't know about that. I think $1,000 is a realistic, at least decent number. And Art was right, I was wrong. But
this also comes at a time where people are heated, not really going to a lot of events. Maybe there are some people who have the ability and luxury of being able to save a lot of money right now because they're not going out and are able to work from home. So there's some mixes there to make a perfect storm, let's say, of goodwill towards fellow human beings. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. It was. I'm gonna be real. I appreciate everybody that donated. The FGC maybe it's not as shitty as I've always thought it can be. Can is the key word. I didn't say you are. I said you can be.
I mean, that's absolutely true.
I read my Facebook. I read my YouTube comments.
Yeah, it still happens. Listen, don't go on Kappa. Just don't do it.
Super great. And then I think you saw my announcement. This is not the last transitional combat. We got some more coming at you.
Sick.
So you want to ask me the prompting question so I can talk more about it so you actually are part of this podcast?
Sure. So Amanda, could you please tell us about what's coming up then? What do you got coming down the line? Do you have any dates set yet?
So we don't have a date set for Transitional Combat 2, which is a Skullgirls tournament. That's going to be July. We are launching tomorrow, hopefully Friday, I think.
Awesome.
The Transitional Combat Discord server, which obviously the Discord server needs to exist so that we can run the tournaments. I do not particularly we were using my project Discord, which I have a Discord to run all of my one-shot project ideas through that server, and I kind of want that server to stay for that and not just have a bunch of FGC people chilling in it.
That's fair. I understand.
And
that.
it's not I think y'all are rowdy or anything. It's just that my project Discord, I don't like having to have multiple fucking channels just to get work done.
Yeah.
And so I made the Discord for that, and then I thought about it, and one of the things I think we've been talking a lot in the FGC and then in the world in general is how do we be better, right?
I don't know, man. I've been asking that question for years, Amanda. I don't know the answer to it. I seriously don't.
So the thought that came to mind is how do you make a better fighting game community, right? How do you have less people tell you the story? I have never entered an event because I just didn't feel comfortable. How I didn't enter an event because, gamers can be transphobic. I didn't enter an event because gamers can be homophobic. How do you fix that, right?
Right.
And so I thought a lot about it after Transitional Combat and being blown away by the 10K that we raised. And I said, why don't I make an empowerment Discord? So what does that mean? So the part of the incentive of the Transitional Combat Discord is we are going to be doing a bunch of different empowerment projects. So, for example, one of the things that we're going to be doing is having TOs run Bracket 101. And so this will be a way for people to come into the server who have always wanted to be involved in bracket running but never knew where to start. So they'll be able to come in and, listen to somebody like Bunch, or, maybe we get Chelsea involved, or maybe we get the Icy Glaceon involved, right? And you get to hear from someone who knows a lot about bracket running, right? And so now it's not this mysterious thing. And especially because there's no locals anymore, you can't just go to your local and just like hover over the bracket person, right? There's not that experience anymore. You have to put yourself out there for an event. And how do you do that, right? Like, maybe you're if you're already intimidated and you already don't feel included in the space, you're not going to reach out to Joe Monday to help run the online local bracket. And that's not to say you're a bad person, but like if you're already intimidated and you already don't feel included, you're not going to put yourself out there.
I'm very intimidating. I'm a menace. I'm a big meanie boy who's very intimidating, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, but like that's the thing I've always thought about is like,
no, you're right.
What do you do when you're intimidated and you don't know that there are people that would help you, right? Or let's say you want to learn a game, but you don't know where to begin. And sure, don't get me wrong. I know that exists a myriad of better Discord servers than mine, right? For Tekken, for Skullgirls. There's the LGBTQ Fighters Discord that's amazing. And I'm not trying to take away from anything that these other amazing projects are doing. I'm just tackling it in a different angle. I'm making it less about the play experience and more about empowering people to be involved in the FGC, to get into broadcasts, to get into commentary, to get into bracket running, to get into logistics, right? Maybe you want to become a better designer, where we have Shen, who's in the Discord now, who, I'm working with him about how do we, run a design workshop, right? These are things that you're not always going to get out of some of these other servers, and that's not a good or bad thing, right? That's just a fact, right? I'm not going to go to the Ken main server and someone's going to teach me how to be a better graphic designer, right?
I honestly, I don't know if you meant to like bring Ken's face into this and how fucked up it is in Street Fighter V. I don't know if you intentionally did that or if that was just like
here and you just had to blow it up.
I don't know if that was intentional or not. I'm just saying I found that very funny because you're super not. You're super, unless you want to know how to draw banana hair, then maybe that's the server you go to.
But you know what I mean? I think the cool idea that I have for the Transitional Combat server is a way to get people. Because how do you make a space better? You just fill it with good people, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And like that doesn't necessarily work. Like realistically, like for example, the few bad apples, or if you just keep putting good apples into the bowl, it won't matter. I know that that's not how things actually work, but I do think there is some reality into a situation like the FGC. Well, like how do we make the FGC better? Well, if we fill it with vocally positive people, then that vocal minority doesn't matter as much, because you'll also hear the vocal majority. And the problem with a statement like the vocal minority is that it is vocal. It is louder than the majority, right? That's why it's called that. It's not called the vocal minority because they talk, right? Everybody talks. The reason they're called the vocal minority is that there tends to be this phenomenon where the naysayers are louder than the other people in the group, right? This is those people who say, Street Fighter V is ass, but they haven't played the game since beta, right?
Yeah. And there's also the element of sometimes the vocal minority are also the people who have hundreds of thousands of followers. So there's a whole balance there to build. And I like your idea here of building up pockets of good people within the community to empower them to continue forward and make waves and move forward with whatever they have going on, which is I don't know. We need more people like that. I agree with that. That's a something that I'm down with and would like to help out with in the future if possible.
Yeah, because representation matters. So
exactly.
If you know more queer bracket runners, you're going to want to be a bracket runner. If you know more out queer people on the mic, guess what? That tells you that queer people on the mic are a thing, and you too can be a queer person on the mic, right?
Right. If I know, because the problem that the community might see in the last couple weeks or so is maybe they don't follow black women in the community, even though hey man, do black women exist? Let me just ask you this.
The Polygon article, apparently not. So man. I'm gonna preface this by saying that I've spoken to the writer, and I was not very nice to him because he tried to give me an apology that I didn't accept. Facts, folks. You don't have to accept apologies. That shit that they taught you in elementary school isn't true. If someone does something and you don't think that their apology is valid, or you don't think that their apology is actually going to go anywhere, guess what? You don't have to accept it.
That's fair, because let's kind of reel it back.
And in this case, there's a huge problematic. So Polygon released an article. I think I have it still on my computer. I don't, because I closed it, so it was making me mad.
That's fine.
But if I start typing in Polygon, well, I want people to just be entirely in the loop,
okay,
so that we're all in the same place. So Polygon, the 16th, so 2 days ago, released an article called "Black Lives Have Always Mattered in the Fighting Game Community" is the headline, and the tagline is "Black leaders in the FGC are pushing for change in their scene and everywhere else" by D'Angelo Epps, who is OK_assist on Twitter. This article has a few problems. One, it doesn't really add much to the FGC's diverse conversation that major non-endemic websites like to do, right? We've seen these articles before in the past.
Right.
Of in 2014, Polygon did an article very similar to this called "How the FGC Roots Grew the Most Racially Diverse Community in Gaming," or "Why the Fighting Game Community is Colorblind" is the title of the article, by Mitch Bauman. I actually haven't heard of this dude, but it's also a 6-year-old article.
Which to kind of give historical perspective on that, articles like this and pointing to things like this within the community can really act as tokenism for people who don't actively support. It's one of those weird things of I can say this racist thing because I can point to this and see, no, our community is not racist because of this thing that exists.
So let's start from the very, but let's stay a little on track for a little bit, just a little bit.
Thanks for helping me run the show, because sometimes I get off the rails.
The article that this article refers back to, the 2014 one, quotes an actual female. Kanye, right? Kane, how do you say her name?
Kayane.
So, Kayane is quoted in this article as being a voice of diversity in the FGC. I think she's the only female voice that's quoted in this article, because it's Alex Jabali, her, Alex Valle is quoted. I'm scrolling super quick, so there are people that I missed them, whatever. Pat Miller's quoted in this article. So it's a pretty diverse bunch, right? Got a bunch of different ethnicities quoted in here. Cool. This article is fine-ish, right? But fast forward, right, to this article, which interviewed, if I understand from the tweets correctly, Majid Obama wasn't actually interviewed for this article. His quotes were pulled from a Hold Back to Block documentary.
It's really hard
right?
to talk to people who don't live in the same country as you, Amanda. Come on, you know this.
But no, I just want to make sure I have this correct, right? Because he was quoted from a Hold Back to Block interview. The only person who was directly spoken to was Tasty Steve.
Correct.
And then everybody else is quoted from things that they've already said.
Accurate.
And other things. So here's some problems with this. One, it ignores that people like Cuddlecore and Alicia have the FGC Wokecast. They've spoken a lot about racial disparity in the FGC.
Yeah.
What was it? Spaghetti Rip. Even though this isn't Black Lives, Spaghetti Rip has talked about racism towards people of his ethnicity, of Muslim descent, Pakistani, Indian descent in the FGC, right? And so this
you could talk to Ryan. There's so many more people though.
Ryan Hart has said some stuff, right? So
you can talk to Cinepi, who's a Smash community, but she's been extremely vocal about black people in general, and the history of all that shit, which I've been incredibly impressed by.
Let's be completely
Princess Slim
has talked about it. So let's be completely visible, right? Let's be transparent as fuck. The premise of this article is pretty poor.
Purple Sharpie.
Right? So the general premise of this article is not great. Because it sort of rose-tinted glasses, the things that go on in the FGC. We talk about this a lot for, the arcade era, that we look at it as this much better time than it actually was.
Right.
And we've been sort of holding people's feet to the fire about that lately, I think.
It's all about you gotta show up and fight. It's all about show up and fight, right? And then the best person wins, and it's all fucking what's the word for it? Fuck, I've lost the thread on that. My mind broke, but it's not. It's super not that, by the way.
Right. So let's first talk about a few things about this article, and this is some stuff that I said to D'Angelo. One, he's not new. So a lot of people have been putting this out there that he's a young writer and he's new to writing and he's new to the FGC. That's not true. He is young, but he's not new to writing and he's not new to the FGC. He literally did a Smash interview with Anti back in 2018. If you go to his portfolio, he's been writing. So he both helps with the PG stats for Dragon Ball articles, and he's been interviewing people in the FGC for about 2 years now. He did a bunch of SFL articles. He's interviewed Lost Soul at Evo, right? He's not new. So there was a bunch of people that came out defending him, he's new to fighting games. He's not, though.
Fair.
Right? He's a fighting game fan, and he's been a fighting game fan. He's got and sure, people would say, well, it's only 2 years. Let's be real. People don't just randomly decide to write about fighting games. You don't just go, man, fighting games is the hot ticket for me. Right? I was following fighting games for years before I wrote my first fighting game article. So, I'm going to make a logic leap that, he's at least just, a dude that likes watching fighting games, right?
Right.
So...
We've talked about this on the show before. Ain't no fucking money here, so, it's not...
Yeah. So, if he knows who Tasty Steve and Majin Obama is, I find it, really hard to believe he doesn't know who Cuddlecore is.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean,
right?
Both of those people that you named have talked about Cuddlecore.
Right? So,
their name
let's start
shows
there.
Up.
And if, he's watched the Hold Back to Block documentary, that means that he probably watched the one with Nyx Rose, Emily.
Yeah.
And aren't there black people on Equinox?
There's a lot.
Aren't there black women on Equinox? Besides Cuddle, there's Anna, right?
Yeah. Very
true. Let's not give people too much undue rope to hang themselves with.
Fair.
So this idea that he's just this unaware person is pretty hard to believe. Right? if you've been writing about fighting games for 2 years and you watched the Hold Back to Block documentary, I doubt you haven't watched other ones. That's number one. Number two, he says that this is the first time he's done an article of this scope. Like, I'm going to tear this apart as a journalism professor, right? I'm not going to tear this apart from like the FGC perspective. If I went to if my student showed me this and I saw no female voices, I would be like, my first thing that I would have said to him is, hey, do women not play fighting games? To which he would have to reply, no, they do. And I would say, all right, well, are there no female leaders in fighting games that are black? And I'm going to be real. If you don't know the Purple Sharpie, Alicia, Cuddlecore, the Icy Glaceon, Reyna, Aziza, who owns a fucking team, maybe you're like not fighting game correctly.
I like how you've worded that. Maybe you're not doing it right, because maybe you're not. They're there. Like, they're vocal.
Let's be real. Like, how do you not see Sharpie get? She's literally been on Yipes' show.
That's true. That's true.
Right? Like, how do you just miss that?
How do you not see that? How you miss that? She's the maybe.
So, I can understand maybe not knowing the Icy Glaceon. I can understand not knowing Reyna. I mean, Aziza talks a lot about, how people know who Gur is, but they don't know he's on Dynamic Focus. So, I get it.
He might have muted the word Skullgirls, in which case you would never see a single Sharpie tweet, is the thing.
But do you know what I mean? Do you see where I'm trying to come from?
I get it. People, they're out there. That's the thing.
It's not hard to see them. No. Right? And if you're following Majin Obama and Tasty Steve and the other dude that's quoted because he did a video, because there's two videos that he quotes. One is Breaking the Black Stereotype and Racism in the FGC. It's done by King J. And then there's How We Can Help Black Lives Matter, and that's I'm gonna turn this video on for a second. Oh, it's Kitama Prime. How do you know about Kitana Prime, but you don't know about what? What? I know KP's retweeted Sharpie. For a fact. I don't know nothing about King J. So
here's the thing.
Let's actually get on track. Let me get on a real track. Which is
the people
what's the problem with doing an article like this and not mentioning black women? You got one shot when you do articles like this. One.
Because they're not coming out every month. This is not an every month thing.
His apology is well, I'm gonna make sure that I keep doing future articles about women and trans women in the FGC. I'm gonna be real with you. If he writes another article about the FGC for Polygon that's as air quotes big of scope as this, and it's about trans women and trans people and women in the FGC, and it comes out in 5 months, I'll be fucking shocked.
Yeah, honestly, that's
the harmful thing. This is a lightning in a bottle type of article where it's during Black Lives Matter. I shouldn't say during Black Lives Matter. That's a one-time thing, but this is sort of what I would call an apex of that conversation.
A lot of people who historically have not given a fuck have just found out that maybe they should give a fuck, and therefore it's pulling in readers, let's say.
Thank you. So, my problem is that, you had the opportunity, and this is something that me and Junebe said to him, which is you had the opportunity to do something extremely great and meaningful,
yep,
and you dropped the ball really hard. Because we as the FGC, even though we want to say, oh, well, everybody knows, well, here's a guy who's apparently FGC and, didn't know or didn't choose to. And at some point, somebody said to me when I was talking about this article, well, the true homies know. I don't need the true homies to know. They're not the ones that get me jobs most of the time.
Yeah, that's something that I wanted to kind of bring up here, because specifically,
if I'm not mentioned in an article like this, that's a whole bunch of eyeballs.
Yeah.
That just aren't going to happen.
This is
I love Tasty Steve and I love Majin Obama. But they're not hurting for bread.
Also, not saying that they don't deserve to be covered. This is not a a find and replace situation. This is a
no.
This is a them and honestly because there are
what I said better.
No. We understand. Yes, that is also true, but also this could have been much bigger in scope. And it doesn't seem like the retort from him was that, that had to get edited out for time. I couldn't include 5 people. I had to include this many.
He probably submitted this before Transitional Combat wrapped.
But he didn't put that before Cuddlecore's event.
But like Cuddlecore's event happened and FGC Wokecast happens and my event wasn't news. It's not like your charity where you like flashed it on people. My shit had like ramp up time, right? Like it didn't just come here. And so that's like a big issue I have with this article is that like, cool. I'm so glad that he brings up that Kidama raised 20K. I'm so glad that he brings up that Eli Joe raised 5K. I'm so glad that he brings up that you raised 17K. God damn, you beat me.
Sorry. Also, I like to be clear. Here's like another thing, which I'm going to bring up every time that people bring up like when people say you raised. I'm like, no, listen, like I put like very little effort into it. This is a we thing where everybody. It was just like the first one to take advantage of this lightning in a bottle situation where people were hurting and people wanted to give, right? Just giving people that platform to. I mean, that's generous. What I say
to other people too. Lately, because a bunch of people have been saying to me on Twitter that like, what the fuck do I bring to the table? I have been a little bit more boisterous. But like before the other day on Twitter, I was just being like, oh, I didn't raise 10K like my team and like everybody else did. And then a lot of people's counterpoint to that, and I want you to hear this too because it matters, is that like, would this have happened without you?
My tournament takes place on Monday, whereas the big tournaments take place on Wednesdays. I don't know.
Do you know what I mean though?
No, like, I feel it.
We made and like I said, this isn't to say like we're so great. But like we made the decision to do something that granted, other people did BLM tournaments, but no one's done a trans lifeline tournament, so whatever.
That's true. That is true.
But, so that's important to note. My other really big problem with this article, beyond the lack of female representation, is trans representation in the FGC is pretty whack. Right, and the way trans people in the FGC are treated is not great. So, in your growing pain section of the FGC, and you say issues like transphobia, misogyny, and harassment rearing their ugly heads in the community at times, and the only trans representation you have is the Sero/LTG incident, it continues this perpetuation of negative light towards trans people in the FGC.
Yeah.
And like maybe you didn't know about me. Sure, fine, fuck it, whatever. Like I'm not important, I get it. But you don't know Sonic Fox? You could have even just said good shit about Sonic Fox. Like it's not hard. Right? They've done charity events. They've done 24-hour charity streams. They've won 5. And like some people are like, well, why would you get mentioned in the article? You've never won anything. I mean, neither has Majin Obama and Tasty Steve, but that didn't stop that guy. But like, Sonic Fox won 5 Evos.
Fair.
So like, what's your next excuse?
That's always my favorite line of someone of like, you need to win.
Sonic Fox has more Twitter visibility. Sonic Fox has more Twitter followers than both of those two put together.
Dude won a esports award. Dude won an esports award.
I love Majin. This is not a takeaway. This is not overshadowing things they did. But when like these fucking Jimmies on the internet want to be like, oh well, like you haven't won a tournament, so why would you get quoted? Okay, tell me the major that Tasty Steve won. Tell me the major Majin Obama was won. Okay, visibility. One person. Look at me. I'm at my computer at the moment because we're recording a podcast. Let's just click on Sonic Fox. One person has. Oh, that's Sonic the Hedgehog. 1 second. I was about to say
how many majors has Sonic the Hedgehog won? He bodied. I remember when Sonic bodied Eggman, Evo, 20. Oh, it was 09. It was
One
hot.
person has 250,000 Twitter followers. The other two have 40K put together. Right? Like, so let's not try and make it about visibility.
True.
Right? Like, so like, what?
You couldn't have reached for a quote?
And if you couldn't, it's not like you can't just list shit that they've done, right?
Right.
You didn't ask Majin Obama for a quote. Let's be honest.
That's true. They didn't even list him as a player. They were like, and occasional, like, he got a little mad about that. Rightfully so.
Like this is that if you know anything about, and the problem that like I have with the community, and I've said this before, is that they don't understand how content works, and people being really happy about an article like this don't realize how fucking lazy it is.
Yeah, that's true.
Whether or not
very accurate.
D'Angelo pitched this. So one, D'Angelo couldn't have pitched this a month ago, right? Because the protests literally have only been going on for 18 days? So like,
God,
D'Angelo,
has it only been 18? I feel like it's been 3 months, but I know it's not been 3 months, but it feels that way.
So like,
you're right. You're about right.
Well, one, they mentioned your tournament, which was what, June 1st? The 17,000 one? Was that the June tournament?
Let's just say, yeah. I don't remember how time works, but yeah, I was not reached out for a quote.
I don't think it was June 8th. I don't think it was the same week as Transitional Combat.
Let me look it up, but go ahead, make your point.
Is that you started writing this roughly a week ago. You had to have been writing this article starting June 1st. There is no way between June 1st and let's generously write.
It was June 1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me try and figure something out because I want to know. Do you have any idea when Kitama's tournament was?
I don't. I'd have to look that up real quick. Hold
on. Let's click on Li Joe's though Twitter.
Okay.
So Li Joe's was June 4th. And then let me click on the NRS one. June 7th. So he was at least writing his article since June 7th at like the earliest estimation, right? Majin Obama raised $3,000. What day was that? Okay, cool. So the latest tournament that I can find listed in his article was June 7th. You probably pitched this article before June 7th. You probably pitched this article. You might have, but maybe you did pitch it on June 7th. Let's say that like on June 7th, you were like, holy shit, the FGC is really coming out there for Black Lives Matter. Let's reach out to them. Let's reach out to Polygon because he hasn't written for them before. So let's say this is his first pitch. And they were like, yes, write this article. Your article came out on June 16th. So 9 days later, which means that you probably submitted it generously 7 days after you pitched it. June 14th, you submitted it. It went through some rewrites. That's the like really generous latest I could see him submitting the article and it going up for a major publication. So you wrote this in 7 days and you only spoke to Tasty Steve?
I don't write articles, but I realize that's fucked up.
Generously, I'm giving him the maximum amount of time that he probably wrote this, meaning that he started it after the NRS community raised $7,000, which happened on June 7th. Right? Remember, I'm giving him a ton of generous leeway here. That he pitched and started writing this which isn't possible. No, I'm actually being too generous. He probably pitched this on the 8th. So, like, he pitched this on the 8th, and it went up 10 days later. Meaning he pitched it, which doesn't mean he wrote it, guys. It means he started the pitching process, which means you give them a general idea as to what you want your article to be. They say yes or no. You start writing it. So he wrote this in like 5 days, give or take. And maybe he's going to hear this and he's going to come on and be like, no, I've been working on this since the 1st. Cool. I don't believe it, but cool. You only spoke to one fucking person?
It's a bit lazy. I'm gonna be honest with you. That doesn't sound very good.
ELM plus FGC into Twitter. Let's see. Well, BLM's probably real bad because everybody's got BLM in their thing.
Yeah, no, you have to like type in. You have to type in Black Lives Matter. Actually, I do. I want to give. I want to give you another good like thing to bounce that off of. I want to give a good example. Let's show like the lighter side of things, right? Of EQNX wrote an article. People might not know this because like people don't go to EQNX. Equinox GG for articles maybe, but they did write an article called The Good Fight Charity Events in the FGC, which covered a lot of the Black Lives Matter charity events that have gone on over the last couple weeks. Anyway, I was reached out to on the 7th for a quote. It was the morning of the 7th. I provided a quote the evening of the 7th. You're in that article, by the way. I knew that this article existed on the 7th. It was released on the 8th, and it pulls quotes from numerous people. It has you involved. It has Kiki involved. So it has a wider variety of representation.
So there aren't as many people quoted in this,
sure.
But it does mention a wider. So here's my thing, right? Oh, you're the guy from Ronan Webber's quoted and you're quoted. So that's two people that were reached out for comment. Right?
Granted, this was a day's worth of time. This is a day, which is not... This is different. This is a different thing because it's like their own website. They don't have like editors here, whatever. Like probably. I don't know, right? But it's not Polygon, let's say, which has a lot more hoops that you have to jump through for an article to be okayed or to be published.
But you're just proving my point. An article written in a day reached out to two people. You reached out to one. Like, this is my problem. And like, I'm not saying he's a bad journalist. I'm not saying he's a bad writer. But like, his excuse of, this is my first time doing something at this scope. Well, my dude, like, you literally reached out to only one. And maybe he like secretly reached out to a ton of people and only TCC got back. But you still only reached out to one. Like, it's all dudes, right? Like, Kiki raised an event. Kiki is not a big, like, she raised $5,000 for St. Jude's, right? No, $2,500 in May. And it's like, even though that this isn't Black Lives Matter, because it's St. Jude's, you could have reached out to her in your FGC Gives Back section. You could have been like, hey, Kiki, are you doing it? I heard that you raised $2,500 for St. Jude's. You plan on doing any BLM charities, right?
Is your team doing anything? Like, you could even say that because he's part of a team.
But my problem is, and like, I need those of you listening to understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. So maybe you all need to take a deep breath, drink some water, turn up your headphones, maybe put your headphones on so you can hear me clearly without distraction. Turn off your second monitor. Pay attention to the words that are literally coming out of my mouth right now. Black women exist, and we do things in this community. And maybe you have some feelings like, oh man, but they don't win tournaments. 92% of y'all don't win shit either. So maybe instead of worrying about who wins what, let's remember that as a grassroots scene that you like to remind everybody else about, there is more to being part of the fighting game community than playing and winning in tournaments. And the voices of those who do the other 80% of shit that goes on in the fighting game tournament, like bracket running, like being a TO, like being involved in the broadcast, like being on the broadcast, like making sure that shit gets done, like owning a team. Y'all love UIU so much. Oh shit, it's owned by a woman. Y'all love Equinox so much. Oh shit, that's run by a woman too. Maybe in that world where we already know that women do a bunch of shit for the FGC, maybe we could very easily acknowledge the accomplishments and the things that women do in the FGC, specifically the things that Black women do in the FGC. And when every article about the FGC only focuses on the voices of men, it tells the rest of the world that only men are involved in the FGC. Similarly, the way that we understand how representation works, right? We all grew up watching TV where the only time we saw Black people on the screen was when they were robbing stores or working as janitors or being thugs. And that's why we all thought the Cosby Show was dope, because Dr. Huxtable was a fucking doctor and not a thug and wasn't living down in the ghetto and had a brownstone. And we all thought that was aspirational as shit. So maybe when we show other people that women exist in the space, maybe that tells a bunch of women that our space isn't a piece of shit. But since we don't seem to like to highlight women in the FGC, maybe y'all should stop telling us that the FGC isn't a piece of shit.
I got a man spicy, you guys. I did it. We did it. We got Spicy Stevens on the mic.
And maybe y'all didn't hear that, so maybe you have to like rewind 5 minutes to like hear it again. But y'all need to understand something. When you consistently tell women in the scene that like we're exaggerating the problems, the very basic problem of acknowledging our existence in the scene is perpetually happening.
Yeah.
Right in front of you, right?
This was a layup. This was such a huge platform to have highlighted so many voices within the community to show actual diversity, and yet such a swing and a miss. And I'm glad that we've addressed that, and I'm glad that people like yourself, people like Janae have talked out about this. I don't know if Cuddlecore said anything about this as well, but
she didn't quote the article directly, but she talked about it.
Right.
Cuddle, is an aim high kind of person.
She's diplomatic. I'll respect her for that.
I sometimes choose to aim low.
Understandable. Sometimes.
Because and I've talked to you about this at length both on the show the last time and in general. The FGC likes to pretend that there are no problems, just like every other gaming community. Right. But every time women talk about shit, y'all like, nah, y'all just overreacting. Y'all, we know y'all do shit. We know y'all are great.
Because that actually kind of ties into...
But then physically an article written by somebody who is FGC, right? He's not some guy who writes for Polygon day in and day out and like...
He's not a staff writer.
Article, yeah. Right? He's a freelancer who has written other FGC articles, so you can make the assumption that he likes fighting games and is a part of our community. So if someone a part of our community doesn't even fucking get it right, like, does he just not exist too? Oh no, it's just this dude. It doesn't matter, right? Hey, wait. So then point me the like Event Hub article. Point me the top tier Actually, I shouldn't call top tier out. They like interview a lot of women. I'm sorry, top tier. You're right.
Top tiers. There's some real ones out there. Don't worry about top tier.
Right, whoops. Sorry, top tier.
Damn, you almost threw some heat there. Yeah, it kind of spillover, man. That was
splash damage is a real thing.
For real.
But like, where's the Event Hubs article? Right. Yeah. We are 1 week from transitional combat. Where's the Event Hubs article? Right? Where's an article?
It's Pride Month.
Picking up where this Polygon article fucked up and been like putting out an open call to talk to Black women in the FGC. Where's a Pride article?
Yeah,
as you said,
it's
like,
Pride Month.
What?
There's nothing.
But like that's the thing. Y'all say that the actual FGC is better, and y'all like to talk shit about Event Hubs, but like. Y'all don't read anywhere else. All right, where's the Shoryuken article? Or are we going to talk shit about Shoryuken now, too?
Right,
where's the SRK article?
Okay. that shit's like donation-based. That's not a thing anymore. Don't worry about that. But Event Hubs, you're right.
Right, I didn't hear any, I mean, like, we'll give it a week, right? Let's wait. But, like, I challenge the Tuesday show to say something.
Yeah. No.
I challenged
that probably will.
X and Chris Matrix's show to say something.
That's yeah.
I
That's true.
challenged Best of Five.
That's a good one.
Right? And I love some of the people on those shows. But let's see. Let's see what happens.
Another thing,
but I'll tell you something. Shit probably won't happen. And if it does, you're going to have to ask yourself, was something said because somebody got super loud about it? It's like I said to a friend of mine, because she was like, well, oh, how come you haven't, like, you should go out and tell these people to write about transitional combat. Well, here's the thing. Ed, from, the crew for Resist the Iron Fist, he told me in my thread complaining about what was going on with that Polygon article, told me that 2 people had reached out to him to talk about his tournament. Ain't nobody reached out to me? So why do I have to go and promote myself when charity tournaments that raise less money than me, not Resist the Iron Fist, but other ones, have people promoting them? Again, FGC, stop pretending like y'all don't have a problem. Just stop.
I do want to bring up one thing real quick. Just something to reflect on is that I love your anger. I love how mad you're getting because it is all justified. You've been put in a spot. But also, I want to put a challenge to the listeners that if you think this comes across as this is just an angry black woman, let me shut you up and just say that black women they've got a right to be angry. This was something that I don't have the right to speak on because
you can look at a bunch of black women on Twitter from the FGC. I wasn't the only one that was mad.
Yes,
right?
But
John was mad. Reina was mad. Aziza was mad. Cuddlecore was mad. Junebe was mad.
Yeah.
Nick Rose was mad for us. Carolyn Mama Dow was mad for us. Right? Like, this isn't just black women saying, hey, this is fucked up. This was a bunch of women in the FGC saying, yo, this is, like, enough.
Yeah. It's something that I don't know. I'm glad that there is this kind of vocalizing of the issue to get that out there for people who might not understand it or might not have ever been faced with having to understand it before. Because something about, I don't know, I like to think that the people who listen to this show are genuinely people who probably already understood this problem, and if they haven't already, then they're probably coming on the side of, hey, something needs to be done. But let's say that, Amanda, we're talking to someone here who doesn't understand the issue and thinks, oh, you're just getting riled up because someone didn't write an article about you. Like, just like buck up and shut up. Don't worry about it. It's a good article, fuck off. Let's say that there's someone who's like that's listening. I've been trying to think in my mind of a way to explain to a person like that of, like, no, like, I understand that you think that the FGC is good and you can point to XYZ and say, look at all this diversity that we have. We're great. When in all actuality, you can point to, oh no, look at the lives of these real people who are out there living, doing work, and putting in way more work to get just a fraction of the coverage. Like,
I'll put it this way, right? Let's just look at it pound for pound, blow for blow, right? Someone on Twitter asked me, what do I bring to the table? Right? What have I accomplished? And that's fine. I'm cool with that. Like I said, I get it. Y'all think I'm only esports, even though I've been predominantly doing FGC content for the last 3 years. Fucking did the Red Bull Conquest tour for Red Bull. But, like, shit, it's not about me. Cool. Somebody said, how come nobody's ever mentioned you in the FGC before? This person literally follows Sabin, Justin Wong, Alex Myers, Ultra David, and James Chen.
If they follow me, I'd be upset about that.
There's an actual point to this statement.
Fair.
That's 5 people. Why did I pick these 5 people? Justin Wong was on the neutral this year. Literally last month. Alex Myers was on the neutral last month. Ultra David was on the neutral last month. Sabin literally ran my stream and tweeted out my event multiple times for the last 2 weeks. Who's that other name I had? Oh, James Chen. Not only has been on my show this year, my dude is literally on my reference card on my Twitter, and I've interviewed him 3 times in the last 4 years. Actually, no, it's 4 times in 4 years. Imagine what it feels like as a human being who makes content and tries to do dope shit in the FGC, being told that people literally don't talk about you when they literally follow people who do. This is not the first time Ultra David has retweeted one of my projects. He literally, because I asked him, because I'm a shameless plug person, he has literally retweeted every episode of The Neutral. James Chen has retweeted a large number of episodes of The Neutral. Same for Alex Myers. Follows Sherry Genix. She retweets a lot of my shit. Oh yeah, and I do shit for eFight Pass sometimes. That's what women in the FGC feel like all the time. People pretend that we don't exist when you little Jimmies out there, you Unga Bunga motherfuckers, literally follow people that acknowledge our existence.
I think a solution to that, and I've been saying this for a while, is that if you don't follow women's voices or people who don't look like you, if you don't follow those people, you're less likely to hear those people and hear the specific opinions of those people, or hear the nuanced arguments that those people are willing to make and put forward. And you stay.
What you're saying.
I'm playing the advocate.
I'm not going to let you play devil's advocate, man. Right? I tweeted out a great fake magazine cover for this. These people literally say that they never hear people talk about us when they literally follow people who talk about us. And so the problem isn't that like they don't follow people. The problem is that they care so little about women voices that they just tune out anything about them.
That's true.
And so that's why I want to do the shit I want to do with the transitional combat server, is so that eventually I will empower enough LGBT people, enough marginalized people, enough women, to the point where if you just are going to tune us out, well, then you're just not going to do anything. You're not going to know about Combo Breaker. You're not going to know about CEO. You're not going to know about the online locals, because the only people that are going to be talking about them and running them are going to be women and queer people. And I guess if you just like have some like auditory deformity where you just don't hear our voices, then you're just not going to hear about shit. And then you're not going to matter, Jimmy. I mean, you don't already, but now you're just not going to matter even more. And that's sad. And I feel bad for you. Maybe you should drown in pools less or something and I'll hear about you.
Oh, Amanda, I love you. And I'm glad you brought that heat where I could not. I'm too soft. I give people the benefit of the doubt, but you're right. There is that ignorant.
That level. Show, I don't care what happens. So like, I'll say whatever the fuck I want.
Oh, that's true. Well, regardless.
To listen to this 2-hour fucking mess, so like
we're gonna keep it to an hour and a half. We can close in the next 5 minutes, I think.
No, like the thing is, like I can be a lot spicier on this, and I can be like on my Twitter, on my own stuff, because like I got sponsors. Look,
that's fair. That's fair. And we ain't got no sponsors. I ain't following that money. You don't see me pushing that me undies. You're not wearing my undies. You're not gonna get quipped. I'm not gonna tell you to brush your teeth. Brush your teeth, motherfucker. I went to the dentist the other day. Wash your damn hands. Actually brush your teeth. And probably you want to floss too. I got a cavity.
Go to the dentist.
Yeah. Motherfuckers going to the dentist and all that shit.
Yo, I had a cavity. I got a root canal. That was
one of the reasons. That was one of the reasons why I didn't talk to you last week, because there was way too much on your plate to like have you. I was like, this ain't cool. He ain't doing shit. I'll talk to him. Then I'll talk to you the week after. Yeah, because I was like, you like fucking got a root canal yesterday. I'm not going to talk to you the day after. You just probably got like, I don't know how root canals work. I've never had one, but in my mind, you just had a bunch of.
My face was just really numb. But yeah. I'll end on a positive note before we go into like the usual end. Is that like I'm impressed with y'all. Y'all raised generously speaking, we've probably raised as a community, the nebulous fighting game community, we'll call it. We probably raised like $250,000. We probably added everybody's stream, all the big tournaments. Like we have $25,000. No, 45,000. Because what? Resist the Iron Fist raised like 35K.
Yeah, something like that.
So like between Resist the Iron Fist, Transitional Combat, Kinema's event, and just Super Joe Monday's event, we raised $100,000 for charity.
I also know that Matcherino in general, not including your event, has raised within the last 2 weeks something like $60,000. Just like charity events run on Matcherino, so that's like.
So like y'all give yourselves a pat on the back.
People showed up.
Y'all doing good shit. Y'all showing up for your community. You know, like St. Cola said, if the government's not going to show up for us, then we got to show up for each other. And so y'all have been, but like. Take that moment, Jimmy. Take your hands off the controller. Pat yourself on the back. Good shit. Guess what? There's more work to do.
Indeed.
Keep doing more shit. And guess what? If y'all don't like the heat that I'm bringing, then be better. It's like I said earlier in the podcast. You don't like the shit I do? Match me. Bet. Do something better. Be greater.
It's really funny to me because people will never hear it, but before we started recording, you were like, I'm feeling good. This is a good week. I'm very positive. And then it was a slow boil.
Something about being on RSF radio that brings the spice out of me.
Oh, it's like a frog in boil. You don't know that it's coming until that flavor hits and you just get punched in the mouth. I love it.
Like Joe talks to me on the regular. I'm not like this all the time.
No, you're
to my RSF radio appearances. Y'all think I was Stephen A. Smith or something? I'm just disappointing people all the damn time.
Oh, I fucking love Stephen A. Smith. Anyway, check this shit out.
Yeah. Hey, Super Joe Monday. Where can they find you on the internet?
Oh, Thing 5. Could have fucking run a my own show, god damn it. At Super Joe Monday or at Reddit SF on Twitter.com. Amanda Stevens, where can people find you?
Amanda T.N. Stevens, that's my Twitter. Sage Gnosis, SAGEGNOSIS, because I know Jimmy doesn't know anything about Greek. That's where you can find me, the Sage Gnosis. That's where you can find me on Discord, YouTube, Instagram. I'm not really on there, but you can type it in anyway. But yeah, YouTube is where you can find the Neutral. Like I said, it's coming back one day, probably July. Who fucking knows?
Right.
It's a talk show about people who love the FGC, but we don't really talk about fighting games all the time. Me and Justin Wong talked about egg sandwiches. Me and Justin Wong and me and Tempest Rob both talked about egg sandwiches for like 20 minutes on 2 separate episodes. So like. And we talked about dessert tier lists on the Justin Long episode.
His opinions of shit is so whack. I just can't with that motherfucker. I can't. He's one of the best fighting game players of all time, and I just cannot with that motherfucker's opinions of his tastes.
Real quick. S tier soda is? What's your S tier soda?
Oh, see, I'm fucking
S tier
white.
soda.
S tier soda, just Coke. Give me a raw Coca-Cola, straight up Coke.
Man, why am I on this fucking podcast, folks? If you don't like cream soda, then
Cream soda's good. You can give me like a Jones,
S
like
tier.
that's good. I don't know. Like I don't really drink a lot of soda. Let's put it that way. I mean, I'd put actually like a good like Jones soda, like Jones cream soda is like top tier. Jones soda in general make a lot of good flavors. They also make some fucked up flavors, but like when I'm like, if I were to like rank brands of soda, it's like they're pretty high on my list.
Okay. Listeners, I can be fun and not make fun of you, Jimmy. I can do it all.
Like Jones soda root beer is really good. I like a good
Agreed.
root beer. There's some good root beers. There's also some like not good root beers out there. Like I don't like a mug root beer. I don't like Barks root beer though. I'll go Barks.
Barks is pretty good.
Barks all right.
Mug. The only reason I like Mug is it's like my childhood root beer. Like my mom would sometimes put a can of Mug root beer in my lunchbox.
It's fair.
So it's like it's more about like nostalgia than it is the taste.
I feel that. But also like I don't know. Orange sodas are good. Like I like orange soda a lot. I haven't had an orange.
A bad orange soda.
Yeah. They all kind of have the same. Like you're right. They're all kind of like.
I've had different grape sodas in my life, and they all taste differently. But like, I've never tasted an orange soda and been like, "Oh, is that?" I've never been like, "Yo, blind taste test." Oh man, I can tell the difference between Crush and Fanta. No, I don't know the difference. They're all orange soda. It's all great. We should end the show though.
Nah, that's fair. But I will also say S tier only when I'm on an airplane. I always get ginger ale. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about being on an airplane. It's always ginger ale.
It's not like you're going to be on an airplane again, though, so you won't have to worry about it.
Oh, fuck. the dark time's coming. Oh, shit. All
Sorry,
right.
Jimmy. I had to be negative again.
That's a show. That's a wrap. I'm cut. It's all over. That was a good show. Thank you again. It was a pleasure talking to you, Amanda. Thank you very much, especially for coming on the show to talk about the wrap up of Trans Lifeline. Again, even though the event is over, if that is a charity you want to donate towards, Trans Lifeline is a phenomenal resource for tons of people who are impacted. Like just being a trans person, right? Like it's fucked up out there. So show a little love out there for the world and show the world that we're a better place. But anyway, that's a show. Catch a show usually every Thursday. Don't forget about the tournaments on Mondays on the East Coast, Fridays on the West Coast. But that's going to do it. Until next time, folks, take care. Peace.